Good boy, Rigo. You just fall asleep up there and relax. Enjoy the nice rain out. And don't chew my TV. No. Hola a todos. Welcome back to the Nerdy Muse. I'm Andy, and today I'm giving you my July TBR. Before I keep going any further, I want to apologize for some of the harsh lighting. I don't have any natural lighting today, and of course I don't have an updated camera or light. I just use my phone and whatever light I've got, mostly natural light. But it's Florida, it's in the summer, so it's rainy and thundering and dark, and thanks God, much appreciated. But anyway, here we go. So this month, I don't have a lot of free time like I do in June. I kind of ramp up work again. I don't have as many vacation days. So I've kind of tempered my TBR, and something tells me I'm not going to actually finish this TBR. But that's okay. I'm going to get through as much as I can and enjoy the process. And then whenever I don't, it will just get pushed down the line, like everything else in my life. I don't know much about the majority of these books. Actually, I don't know much about any of these books. So I'm kind of going in blind to most of them. I'll read the blurb for you from the back. That's as much as I know about them. Hopefully, that'll be enough for now. My first pick is going to be Agatha Christie's The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, a Poirot mystery. From what I understand, this is the novel that really launched her career or made her famous. So I have read Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None back when I was in middle school, a long time ago. But I think I really want to start reading all of her novels. I have a few here, and later on when they get onto my TBR for the month, you'll see them. But I'm going to start off with The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. Ackroyd? Yeah, we'll go with Ackroyd. So this says, the villagers of King's Abbot are shocked when a wealthy local widow commits suicide, and the very next day her fiancé, Roger Ackroyd, is stabbed to death. Dr. James Shepherd, the local physician, discovers the body of his friend and narrates the ensuing hunt for the killer. All the guests and staff at Ackroyd's country house seem to have solid alibis, except for his missing stepson. But as the authorities hone in on their most obvious suspect, the recently retired detective Hercule Poirot unexpectedly turns up and joins the fray. Dr. Shepherd gamely assists the legendary Poirot as he untangles one of the most fiendish mysteries in Christie's extensive oeuvre. I've never seen that word before, ever in my life. I mean, you would have thought I would have at least read this the first time just to make sure I knew what all the words were, right? It's Oeuvre. I'll look it up later. But I like the fact that, you have Poirot and a Dr. Shepherd helping him in this one. It kind of reminds me of Sherlock and Dr. Watson a little bit, so we'll see. So, Murder of Roger Ackroyd is going to be the first one. So, keeping with the mystery genre, I recently purchased all 3 books of K.J. Charles's A Charm of Magpies. The first book is called The Magpie Lord. This is a queer historical mystery book, and let me just read you what it says here on the back. Again, I've never heard of them before. I just got it because 1, it's historical, 2, it's queer, and 3, it's a mystery. And I always love a mystery, especially now as we get closer like to Halloween, my favorite holiday ever. So it says, exiled to China for 20 years, Lucien Vaudry never planned to return to England, but with the mysterious death of his father and brother, it seems the new Lord Crane has inherited an earldom. He's also inherited his family's enemies. Don't they always? He needs magical assistance and fast. He doesn't expect it to turn up angry. Magician Stephen Day has good reason to hate Crane's family. Unfortunately, it's his job to deal with supernatural threats. Besides, the Earl is unlike any aristocrat he's ever met, with the tattoos, the attitude, and the way Crane seems determined to get him into bed. That's definitely unusual, but that's going to make a great read. Soon, Stephen is falling hard for the worst possible man at the worst possible time, but Crane's dangerous appeal isn't the only thing rendering Stephen powerless. Evil pervades the house, a web of plots is closing around Crane, and if Stephen can find a way through it, they're both gonna die. Now, we know there are 2 more books, so I know they're not gonna die. But again, I'm interested to read this Magpie Lord. I haven't heard anything about it. I really even haven't read any reviews on it. Which is kind of weird for me. Normally, I always do that first just to see. But I love the covers. I love the fact that it's a queer historical mystery book. So, a series, really. So, I'm looking forward to this one. In May, I read the first of the Iron Druid Chronicles called Hounded by Kevin Hearne, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. It was a great read. It was quick. It was fast. It was funny. The series follows a 3,000-year-old druid by the name of Atticus O'Sullivan, who's living currently in Arizona, and he's trying to survive his own pantheon, witches, werewolves, vampires, you name it, they're all there. Well, I'm going to read book 2 this month. And if I can actually get through all my TBR, I might even throw in book 3, but that one may have to wait till next month. But this one's called Hexed. This one says, Atticus O'Sullivan has had cause to mistrust witches in his storied past. Having read the first one, totally true. But he's willing to live and let live with the Sisters of the Three Auroras, a legendary local coven, even going so far as to sign a non-aggression treaty with them. But that treaty is tested immediately when a deadly new coven sweeps into town seeking to take over, along with some Bacchanals from Las Vegas and a fallen angel who's decided to snack on high school students like they were trail mix. It's more than Atticus can handle alone, and he must enlist the trickster Coyote, the head-hopping abilities of the witch Laksha Kulasekaran, sorry if I butchered that, and the neighbor's illegal arsenal if he wants to keep the city safe from diabolical takeover. He must also exchange favors with his vampire attorney, Leif Helgerson, in a deal that might prove to be the worst of his long life, for Leif doesn't want to be paid by the hour. I'm not going to tell you how that is. Read book 1 and you'll see it's funny. To defeat the mortal hexes of this new coven and keep his apprentice and his city safe, Atticus must think fast, make promises, keep his sword handy, and hope he'll survive to fight another day. Again, I really enjoyed Hounded, the first book, so I'm really looking forward to reading Hexed this month. One of my books I hauled last month was Less by Andrew Sean Greer, and this one is the winner of the Pulitzer Prize. Never heard of it before. Here's what the blurb says. You are a failed novelist about to turn 50. A wedding invitation arrives in the mail. Your boyfriend of the past 9 years is engaged to someone else. You can't say yes, it would be too awkward. And you can't say no, it would look like defeat. On your desk are invitations to half-baked literary events around the world. How do you arrange to skip town? You accept them all. What could possibly go wrong? Thus begins an all-around-the-world in 80 days fantasia that will take the novelist Arthur Less to Mexico, Italy, Germany, Morocco, India, and Japan, and put thousands of miles between him and the plight he refuses to face. That can only spell funny disaster, right? So people really seem to like this book, not only on Amazon, but on Goodreads. So I'm always on the lookout for a good queer novel, especially one that won the Pulitzer Prize. So this is going to be on my TBR for July. So those of you that follow booktubers, and I'm sure all of you do, if anyone's even watching this, you know that Summerween is a thing from July 15th for a week. Don't ask me to do math. It's too early right now. Part of that is to read a couple of books dealing with, thrillers or ghosts or anything like that. So I think I'm going to be reading Agatha Christie's The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, and I'm going to read The Ghost Tree by Christina Henry. Now, Christina Henry wrote the Alice books. I have Alice. I haven't read the others yet. I haven't gotten the others. However, this one looks really interesting. This says, when the bodies of 2 girls are found torn apart in the town of Smith's Hollow, Lauren is surprised, but she also expects that the police won't catch the killer. After all, her father's body was discovered the year before with his heart missing, and since then everyone has moved on. How do you move on from that? Even her best friend Miranda has become more interested in boys and in spending time at the old ghost tree the way they used to when they were kids. So when Lauren has a vision of a monster dragging the remains of the girls through the woods, she knows she needs to do something to help, unlike the rest of Smith's Hollow. But as she draws closer to answers, she realizes that the foundation of her seemingly normal town might be rotten, and that if nobody else stands for the missing, she will. So this is classified as a horror book. I'm always looking for a nice horror book. And I haven't looked at any reviews for this one online. I went to Barnes & Noble and I saw it there and I'm like, okay, why not? It looks interesting. Plus, one of the Summerween prompts is to read a book with haunt in the title. Now, this doesn't say haunt, but what haunts? A ghost? So I'm using this to check that one off. Last month, I read V.E. Schwab's Darker Shade of Magic and I absolutely loved it. So I'm going to read part 2, called A Gathering of Shadows. I'm assuming we're going to keep up with Kel and Delilah in this. The blurb on the back says, it has been 4 months since the mysterious stone fell into Kel's possession, 4 months since he crossed paths with the Delilah Bard. Now, while his own city is caught up in the pageantry and thrills of a cross-empire magical competition, a once-lost London is returning to life, but the balance of magic is ever perilous, and for one city to flourish, another London must die. So just by reading that, I have some theories as to what might be happening here, but I'll talk about that later. In fact, as I go through these books, I'll probably keep a vlog for each one, just to kind of show you where I am at certain points and what I've learned and whatever, and then I'll just put them all together and give you a couple of videos at the end. But yeah, my next one is The Gathering of Shadows by B.E. Schwab. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. So on last month's TBR was Freya Marske's A Marvelous Light. This is another queer book. It's another enemies to lovers situation. Let's go ahead and read what it says in here. Robin Blythe has more than enough bother in his life. He's struggling to be a good older brother, a responsible employer, and the harried baronet of a seat gutted by his late parents' excesses. It's really weird, like if you watch British shows, programs or whatever, you're always going to find the aristocracy living in these huge homes, these mansions, but without any money. And that's like a common theme throughout British movies or programs and apparently books. So, interesting. When an administrative mistake sees him named the civil service liaison to a hidden magical society, he discovers what's been operating beneath the extraordinary reality he's always known. Now Robin must contend with the beauty and danger of magic, an excruciating deadly curse, and the alarming visions of the future that come with it. Not to mention Edwin Corsi, his cold and prickly counterpart in the magical bureaucracy, who clearly wishes Robin were anyone and anywhere else. Robin's predecessor has disappeared, and the mystery of what happened to him reveals unsettling truths about the very oldest stories they've been told about the land they live on and what binds it. Thrown together and facing unexpected dangers, Robin and Edwin discover a plot that threatens every magician in the British Isles, and a secret that more than one person has already died to keep. And again, I do know that these two kind of grow closer, I think, in the end. So this kind of reminds me a little bit of like Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. You have two magicians or two people dealing with magic in England during a specific time period, historical time period, and seeing magic come alive again in England, which is a great trope. I like that theme. I don't know why, I just do. But this one, it looks, again, it's a queer book, it's a queer romance, and I wanted to read it last month, so I definitely want to get through this one. So I'll put this one on my list for this month as well. Now, I have had these books here for a while, and it's John Gwynne's Malice. This is book 1 of The Faithful and the Fallen. I have heard great things about this series, and I'm a huge fantasy buff, and I feel ashamed I have not read these yet. It's not like these are brand new. These have been around for a while, but it's time I actually sit down and read it. So I know nothing about it at all. I've never read anything by this author before, but I love fantasy, and I love just getting lost in the kind of worlds and magic laws and people that I meet there. It kind of gets me away from this place for a bit. So Malice, which is book 1, will definitely be something I'll be reading this month. All right, so that's my TBR for July. Again, will I get through them all? Probably not. If I do, I'll add some more, and then I'll just add another video here to my channel for TBR part 2 for July or something like that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But wish me luck. I'm looking forward to all these novels. They all look great. They all sound fantastic. And again, some of them I had on my TBR here for a while, some a long time, and it's just time I kind of move through those. All right, everyone. Thank you all for staying with me this long. I hope you all have the great rest of your day. And now I am going to put these books somewhere so I don't forget them and get started on Hexed, because that's going to be first. All right, everyone. Adios.